And I'm delighted to have a former lecturer from the University of Wollongong. She's a lecturer on e-commerce, and she can help you discover your strengths, find your purpose, empower you to lead, help you to build relationships, grow sales, improve results, and get better satisfaction for your business. Would you please make welcome Camtu Pham?
Thank you. And how are we tonight? Good? I appreciate that Andrew, Harsey and the BBX team putting this event together. Our speaker, I love it when everybody, like there's organisers put everything together and I just need to stand up and talk. So tonight I'm here to service you. I'm here to share with you my knowledge and some of the tips so you can grow your business. And if we got the timer, just give me 5 when actually you want me to close the, yeah? Okay. Alright, so tonight I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to grow and market your business, to accelerate your business. I've actually been in small business for more than 20 years now, and many of you are business owners, some of you are managers, and of course we actually tend to think outside where we actually work hard, but we also have some of the challenges. That is, for example, we maybe some of us having that, next shiny, things that we want to work with and things like that. So there's a number of things that I would like to share with you. One is know the trend and know the data, know what's actually going out there. So based on the latest report, in Australia, as of December 2017, we got more than 14,000 internet subscribers. And I'm sure you and your neighbours, your client, if you want to look for something this day, where do you go? You go to the yellow page? No, it's not even, it gets smaller. Where do you go? You take your phone out and you search, right? Or you go to your computer. That is exactly that, 26.7 mobile phone subscriber in Australia as December of last year. What is the population of Australia, guys? Only 25 mil, right? We got more mobile subscribers than the population in Australia. Hand up if you got more than one mobile phone. So some of you, yes. That's what happened to the statistic, okay? And if you're looking at the latest data from Roy Morgan, 9.46 million buy something online. And that is actually considering, number. Considering that, of course, there's elderly people, there's children, but Australians, in fact, like to buy things online. And if you don't leverage the internet, you actually miss out a lot. You put a lot of cash on the table. Because if you have a physical business, you in fact close at 5 or at 6 o'clock. If you have a functional website, you can open 24 hours a day. Is that correct? And you might need to invest some money in technology, in the website, in social media, but then you don't have to pay all of that rent, all that wages, all of that. It's actually a lot of cost. Next slide, please. I just want to give you a scenario that if you employ a staff that costs you $50,000 a year, another 50,000 go on to super, the desk that person's, use, the computer, the car. So say another 50 grand, that's 100 grand. And if your profit margin is 10%, do you know that how much that person needs to generate for you just to break even in a year? $1 million. That's why no wonder small business is not easy. The government, the policy, always, of course, with the workers out there, with the policy. So in small business, for us to survive and thrive, we need to use technology. We have to leverage. And congratulations for being here tonight. You leverage. You leverage on the network, you leverage on the BBX, and you leverage on the contact that you know. And I agree with Samantha that our network is valuable. And in fact, this is not my line, I like it to be. Somebody once said, your net worth equal your network. Yeah? So some of you here, we might meet for the first time. Some of you I met before. And it doesn't matter in the future whether you ever buy from me or not, it not really matter. But some of you, or in the past 20 years, it's proven to me, some of people never buy from me or have a need to use my services, but they make recommendation, and that is valuable. So networking and that trust building is important. Okay, who feel overwhelmed with what's going out there with different tools, different social media? Put your hand up if you think there's too many tools, you're confused, it's too much to learn. If you're looking at that, you say, in fact, behind that is the biggest interchange in the world in Houston. And at some stage, I have to cross that because I have an event. I can't wait for my family to take me, so I just borrow the car key and off I go. And I did not know that the biggest interchange in the world. A lot of us, when we're looking at the social media platform, and we're saying, oh, that's too many things. I don't have time for LinkedIn. I don't have time for Facebook. Should I use Twitter? Should I post another video on YouTube? I'm stressed out. I don't have enough time. Who got that feeling? Yeah. Now, relax. You only need to pick a few of them. You don't need to use all of them. If you are targeting business customers, like a gentleman over there I met earlier, for example, like if you are in SMSF, the self-managed super fund, of course you target small businesses but also general public. But then a lot of people will evaluate you based on your expertise, based on your reputation, whether they can trust you before they expose or share with you, about the money that they want to invest. So LinkedIn is the most important media for you, not Facebook, yeah? And then not necessarily Twitter, people not going to follow you and see where you're up to unless, for example, if you're in the entertainment space, that it could be the social media for you. Facebook is there for you, and Samantha did say something that I like to obviously endorse is this social media is not for you to just sell. It's about building relationship and building trust. And once people feel comfortable and they feel that they can trust you, they can come and share with you their problem. And in fact, we all in problem solving. Whether you in bricklaying business, you in financial services, in marketing and web development and consultation, I'm here to solve a problem for business. I give them ideas, I give them solutions. And if you're fixing somebody's roof, you also make sure that, they well covered and they well ensure all of that. Okay, tip number 4 is power of communication. And the image that I show you on the screen, it's actually communicate a number of things, not just one thing. A lot of us relate to communication as speaking words, yeah? And in fact, today I speak in English, but many years ago when I first arrived in Australia, I speak very little. And I still remember I have to learn from this is hair, this is a button, this is, all of that when I came to Australia. And within a few years, I got to university with my hard work and support from my family. And I remember my dad bought me an old car, and in the morning, winter time, trying to start, it doesn't really work. And at one time, I rang the NRMA, and the gentleman saying, "Oh, young lady, you got flat battery." And I say, "Sure, sir, it's not. I saw it was square. It's not flat." Okay, and now look back, I really enjoy, how I learned. Communication in marketing is important. The words you use can help to connect with the person that reading your website, connect you with the people that reading your post on LinkedIn, can build that trust, can create rapport, yeah? So use words very carefully. In the past, only a few of us can do like journalism. You can write in newspaper, you can speak on TV, But nowadays, we are all journalists, really. If you post something on Facebook or you post something on LinkedIn, you are a communicator. So choose your words wisely. There's a few things that I can recommend, but for those of you saying that, again, that is too much, software like Grammarly is really useful. Before you go on to the next slide, it's also the visual aspect of communication is important. And some of us, somehow, we value the words, not value the visual, but the visual is another form of communication. So if you do marketing, make sure that you have good photos, and you can use stock photos, and you can, make it trustworthy, make it compelling. So when you look at the picture, you want people to feel, you create that emotion. And again, we are a bunch of people that all emotionally connected to things. And then we use the logic to justify our decision why we want to connect with this person or use this service, but not that service. This service might cost a lot more or might take a lot longer, whatever that might be. It's that emotion. So in marketing, if you can connect with your customer emotionally, you win. You win your competitor by no time. It doesn't matter, years of experience you have, the expertise, that's actually all about connect heart to heart. I just want to show you an example, and I use this because my client probably closest to Blacktown here, she's in Smithfield. We created the packaging, we create the website, but you can see it on there. It's not about just product, it's about people, yeah? People enjoying. So if you want to promote your business, you want to promote the end result, how your customer feels satisfied and happy. It's not just about the product itself. So the marketing, a lot of us think that up here we're doing Facebook posting, we're doing the brochure design, we're doing TV ad, radio. It's the things that you can see up the top. But in fact, the root of that is based on strategy, based on planning. So it has to be logical, it has to be going certain process so people can take certain things in, yeah? And I like to share with you the next slide is when we in fact actually buying certain product, we go through the process, and it could be the next slide, but let me talk about the tip number 5, is getting paid. Who like to get paid? Come on, hand up. Yeah, of course. At some stage I learned from project management, if the money is not in the bank, the project hasn't completed. And if you're actually not selling things online, again, you miss out a big deal. Nowadays, you can have a secure certificate, accept payment online, whether that's through PayPal, whether that's directly merchant facilities, and just help the customer complete the transaction so they can move on to other things. When I buy something or make certain decision to go with someone, I like to complete the transaction so I can move on. Yeah. Otherwise, you have to come back to it tomorrow. Time is money. So by providing all these facilities, you also providing good service to your client. And now it's actually not that hard to do. And I do recommend if you want to fill up your bank account, accept payment online. Okay, so this is the tip number 6, add value. When you're going through the buying process or your customer going through a buying process, we tend to going through different steps. So at first is you need to acknowledge that I need this or I want this. Without that particular step, don't try to explain to people this is how much it is. Don't try to justify how much you charge because it's irrelevant. And then after they go through the first step, they say, this is what I need, this is what I want. And then you're going through, they start searching for information. This is where you give the information. They then evaluate, oh, I need this, I want this, is the right thing for me. Who else provided? This is when you go in and provide why your company is the best possible service provider. And then invite them to take action. Many of us leave a lot of things on the table because we never ask for the sale. Who is guilty of that? I am sometimes. But sometimes we're too excited, got carry on with whether it's a football or whether golf or whether whatever, and we forgot to ask for the order. But then without that step, you won't make a sale. So, and then after that is the post-purchase behavior. There's a thank you email. And nowadays with technology, you can send an invoice straight away from the website, and then money can go directly into your bank account. So the whole process can be automated. So the key word that I want you to remember today with that particular tip is automation. Computer is good at that. And let's actually leverage and let's utilize the technology. Help us out. We actually only got certain time of the day, and sometimes we well, sometimes we tired. Computer work quite, predictable constantly. It's there. If you make a mistake in programming, of course, it's actually a problem that you need to fix. But once it works like a clock, it works like a clock. Okay, and tip number 7 is leverage. I think in business we need to leverage more and more. And technology is actually not one department in your business anymore. It is the fundamental to support all the department, whether it's admin department, whether that's finance department, whether that's marketing department, whether operational, you all need technology. And there's a lot of the cloud software that you can use, and there's a lot of the system that you can subscribe to. But I do suggest that if there are things that in your toolbox that might need to maybe replace, that you look at that as well. And I think that I like to add one more tip, okay? And that tip is when you add network, you collect business card, you hear the word network, not net sit, not net enjoy, not net eat, not net relax. When you actually have that business card or connect with people on LinkedIn, I don't know how many of you have the database called CRM, Customer Relationship Management Package. If you don't, I do recommend that it is something for 2018 you look into it, because it's the most powerful tool that your business can leverage and grow. Okay, and there's many packages out there. People do often ask me, Camtu, if there's a one tip that you want to give to business, what would that be? I said, go and invest in a CRM. Okay, so I just summarize tonight. I just give you a number of tips to grow and to market your business, to accelerate, and that's including utilizing technology. Pick the tool that applicable to you. Don't stress out because many things out there, and communicate authentically and pay attention to words, pay attention to the visual element of it, and when you connect, how you build trust, how you add value, and make sure that you build trust. And people often, like the quickest way to build business is build trust, add value, and let your customer chase you rather than chase them. Yeah? Okay, and I think I'm available for questions, whether now or later. Andrew or Hasi make that decision.
Quickly now, if you would like to.
Okay. Any question that you might like to ask?
Does your business do an overall look at how perhaps somebody's website looks, how it's written? Do you do overviews with people?
Of course, we do the review and then we make a recommendation. I got to say that majority of business I deal with, they want SEO, but then that's not something that I always recommend. Having more traffic to your website is important, but if your website is not built correctly, fix that first. It's just like you have a messy house and then you want more people coming through. Sometimes actually a lot of business don't see that, but so sometimes when I look at it, I will ask, what is your priority? And also the budget. Sometimes trying to convert because of the seasonal before doing SEO or rebuild the website. But I got to say that if your website is not mobile responsive, that means that on the mobile phone people can't see easily. They have to zoom in. then you miss out a lot of the traffic, you miss out a lot of prospective customers as well. So Google have changed the rule. If your website is not mobile responsive, they actually unlikely to list your website as well. So the answer for that is yes, we can do the review and make recommendation, and then also depends on, I will ask certain things like, there's a process. We will ask who's your target customers and also the transaction value and also what important to you and all of that, yeah.
I notice a lot of people have had a website up for many, many years with very little change to it. And I think this is a problem area for a lot of people who say, I've got a website, but it's not working for me, and you suddenly realise that so much of it is outdated.
Yeah, and if your website is not working for you, you lose out a lot of the revenue. And I recommend it's like everything else. A lot of people take the marketing out until they desperately need it, but marketing should be consistently invested in your business to give that flow of customer coming in. So don't underestimate the power of marketing, and if you do it right, you do it consistently, you don't have to spend so much in the marketing if you do it correctly as well. And if you do it wrongly, you have to go through the frustration, you go through the loss of sale, you go through a lot of hassle. So I do believe that get it done right the first time with the right people who understand the business, understand the process. And website, I just want to emphasize this because a lot of people don't get it right, is they think it is a technology problem or technology project. It is a combination of technology and marketing and business. You want somebody who can understand where you're going and how you're actually trying to reach the business, and then from there, technology should only a tool. Whether you use, there's actually in website, you've got things like WordPress, you've got Joomla, you've got Shopify, you've got a lot of different tools, just like the tools that you go to Bunnings, and you've got, you use the Cecil for certain things, you use the Drew for certain things. It's the same with the web. Knowing which tool to pick up and use that is the critical. So you got to engage the right consultant that know which tool you should use. Not just putting any tool, I build your website, this is the website you should have. Because it's a combination of the processes and tools and things like that to service your customer.
It's fair to say, excuse me, a lot of people think that a person that builds a website knows what he's doing. There's a difference between a website builder and a website designer. There's a huge gap between their capabilities, and I've seen so many people have a website built, yet it's non-functional, it's not designed well, it's not thought out. So I think people need to understand when they see website builder, website designer, the difference between the two is very important.
I really appreciate that you bring up that point, because I can tell you that I run this business here, Cleverlink, for the last 20 years. I have never done one website on my own. I have never. My job is to do the business analysis, talk to the business owner, understand it, and then map out what tool I'm going to use. That's my job. And I'm doing the project management, the communication. If I work with you, I will sound like you on your website, because that should be how you communicate to your customer. If I work with Hasi, I understand how Hasi communicates to his customers, and who his customer, I will sound like Hasi. So I'm flexible, and also the designer should be the designer, the SEO should have their own expertise, and the programmer, they all have their own field. And I totally agree with that. And also that if you have a website and it doesn't have keywords on it, nobody will find it. And also if the form is actually not functional, you won't have lead. So there's actually, just like, you can have all the light installed in this function center, but if the switch is not on, lights are not on, yeah? Even though you can see it there. It's similar, I want to use that scenario so you can see the web is also a complex situation. You just need to know where to switch on, where, and what else you need. The process, the tunnel, the map, how your customer travel from the entrance, come in, you hold their hand, walk with them through the journey, build trust, build rapport, give them the information that they will need to know. At some stage, hey, would you like to, proceed to the next stage? And without that, journey, and then you just say, hey, this is what I offer, you break the journey and you won't lead the customer across the line that you really want.
Okay. In regard to email broadcasting, you haven't mentioned any packages or haven't actually mentioned that. And which ones do you recommend that avoids the spamming, such that customers don't receive it as spam?
Okay, again, it's actually a lot of packages available out there. If, for example, like you got the subscriber, the button that people can subscribe to your email, some of you use MailChimp, some of you use Adobe, they also have there. But I think that I need to know the business and also the tools you have to make that recommendation. But I can answer some part of that question. For example, if you build a form on the website, and to avoid the spam that you're having because the robots actually, keep putting information that go to your inbox, then you can have a technology called capture. So you have to put in like certain words or put in that can avoid the spam. I just want to give you a few criteria that choosing a good email package, and then of course, if we got time, we can talk a bit more a bit later, is if you send out email, then you want to have the capacity to track what is the open rate, yeah? And you want to be able to personalize. If I send an email to 1,000 people, but in the system I can say, hi Hasi, hi George, hi Lisa. And then if Hasi opened that email, my system can track that Hasi have expressed some interest in the email I sent. And then this is the thing that I suggest to my client. If you actually got time to bring everyone on your contact list, good luck and great, go for it. But most of us don't have time, especially when we have a long list of clients. But then if you base on that tracking and these 20 or 50 people in your mailing list constantly click on the email, and then when you bring that person, they can talk to you with a lot of interest. So that way you don't waste your time chasing the people didn't even read the email or it went to spam box, you know what I mean? So that's called leverage, and also it actually saves you a lot of time. And when you evaluate the email package, look for those. And I can recommend a few, but as I mentioned, there's so many tools, it really depends on your purpose. And some people will ask me, I want the best possible email tools out there. I say, great, you got the budget for it, but how big is the email? We have like 4, then build a mailing list first, yeah? So it also depends on the situation on the client. I make certain recommendation. And if someone have certain capacity to work on the technical space, then I want to introduce something easier or lighter. But then somebody really want to focus and want to work on technology a lot sophisticated, I can introduce something more complex. So it also depends on the person I'm talking to. And I think that's important that you give the tool that person really enjoy and use. A tool's everything. And I can tell you that on my phone, there's a number of apps that I've actually used every single day. And there's some beautiful project management tool. I can guarantee it can save you lots and lots of hours and lots of headache. Some of that, and project management tool is something beside the customer relationship management tool that I'd like to recommend.
As far as website builders, I mean, I've got so many friends of mine in business, they get caught up with these website builders from India or overseas or whatever else. They pay X amount of dollars up front and then they never get what they want, it never happens, and there's just so much drama that goes on for 6-12 months, and it just just ends up being a farce basically. And if you try and use website builders in Australia, it seems to cost millions of dollars or a lot of money.
Okay.
How do you get around that?
Right. It's quite common these days. And I got to say, sometimes it's not because the programmers or the professional in India or Philippines or other countries not sufficient enough. In fact, many of them are good. The thing is, it's just like me. If I'm trying to put this building together without having the skill, or I give instruction to a group of builders to build me something that I don't know, the chances are it's going to collapse. Yeah. So it's okay for you to leverage the cheaper labor overseas if you know what you're asking and you also have the knowledge that you know what fit with what, you know the functionalities and the architecture. What I call is that web architecture. It's actually very important that if I build a big website for my client, then I use certain technology or architecture that allow it to grow. But then if my client only needs 5 pages of marketing website, then I'm not going to introduce that big tool, just introduce something simple. So back to your friends and relatives, it's coming back to us, like none of us is an island, we don't know everything. I don't know everything, you don't know everything, we are novice in some area. So when it comes to technology, you either pay for the service or you pay to have the problem fixed later on. And afterward, you can end up with frustration, you don't trust the web anymore, you don't trust technology, but it's actually not the problem there. You just need to go to the right people and ask for the right advice. And if you don't know, the web technology is quite complex. And as I mentioned, being a lecturer at university, and I've also mentored so many students, ever since. This is what I see as well. In the Australian education system, probably maybe similar in the lucky countries, our students only learn certain technology. A lot of them are sponsored by big corporations like whether Apple, Oracle, Sybase. So they graduate, they're ready to build something big for big banks like Westpac, Commonwealth Bank. And now that people like myself, I service small businesses. A lot of you, and including me, we don't have budgets like hundreds of thousands for a website. We have very limited budget. So therefore, a lot of us need to use open source. Yeah, and it's all about knowing what you need and then knowing that how it all integrated. Integrated is a very important tool. That if you want to be tech savvy, that you want to take that word on, is the things need to link together. So as I mentioned to you, it's actually not about, it's about miscommunication, it's about managing a project, and if you don't really need, what you want or what you really ask for, the other end, especially in another country, they can't provide you with what you want. Or sometimes a lot of clients, when I work with, they don't even know what they want. They trust me to make recommendation, and a lot of them go with what I recommend. I said, this is best for you for now. In 2 years' time, come back to this. Or for you, you can't go for option 1, option 2. You have to go all in one now. You have to have payment gateway. You have to have database. So it comes back to that knowledge, and also not only knowing about the web, but then where that business is going. Does that answer your question?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Jen, for last question, and then I will hand over to our MC. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Camtu Pham, what a gold mine of information.